For the benefit of our viewers, can you give us a synopsis of Lady Limbo?
Well, it's a mystery, and it starts with Paula Dante as a career woman, and her husband disappears. He has a habit of disappearing, but he finally disappears completely. And basically the book is about her search for her husband, and she finds out that there's this very dark side to his life that she's not aware of.
Consuelo, where were you and what was happening at the time when you came up with this story, Lady Limbo?
I was living in Cape Town. The story was inspired by a travel story my mom brought back, actually, from she was traveling overseas, and she met an air stewardess in Paris. And my mom brought the story back, and it niggled in my head, and it just set off a whole process of thoughts that ended up in Lady Limbo. So I was here living in Hout Bay, and that's how it started.
I couldn't imagine anything scarier, having somebody you love disappear and not knowing what happened to that person.
It's I think that is the terrifying heart of the book, that she had to come to terms with, and also once she started finding out things about his past, really asking herself, what is love? You know, can you, your views of the person before they disappeared, and then afterwards when you start finding out, do they remain the same person in your mind? Do you still love them the same, or does it change? So it was very interesting. The more I wrote, the more the story developed and became almost something else from where I started.
I think what I liked, which was interesting, is that with Paula, she has the experience of her husband disappearing. I mean, there was the incident on the cruise ship, and there's been a couple of other incidences. She was conflicted about reporting it, because at one stage she's in the police station, tears it up, and then decides not to. That, for me, was an interesting twist to the fact that here you've got somebody who's used to disappearing and ultimately disappears.
Absolutely. He used the excuse of, he was a writer of French thrillers, and he used the excuse of that he was away doing research. So he used to occasionally disappear. But even that was, a lot of the book is actually based on factual anecdotes that sort of through the years remained in my head. And I actually read a story once about an artist who had several families all over the world. And he would disappear from his one family for several weeks and then sort of reappear. And it was actually written by his daughter, and she grew up just with this person who constantly disappeared and never said where he was going or why. So that was an interesting idea, and to live with that kind of situation where your husband just disappears and then doesn't tell you and then comes back after a couple of weeks.
What is it, Consuelo, about mysteries that gets us excited, that we can't put it down, especially when it's cleverly crafted?
I think it's that our lives are all full of secrets. And that was one aspect that came out in the book more and more. All the characters in one way or another had secrets. There's a aspect of our lives that we don't tell other people about, and sometimes it's more than other. Some people have more secrets than other people, but that aspect fascinates us because we all have secrets. So yes, I end up always looking at people and thinking, I wonder what your secrets are. So I think that's the thing about a mystery. And really, even by the end of the book, she only knows a portion of her own husband's secrets.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those books I'm going to encourage everybody to go out and get, and it's a perfect little gift if you're conflicted about what to get. Consuelo, thank you very much for joining us from our Cape Town studios. That, of course, is Consuelo Roland, the author of Lady Limbo. That's the latest offering. She's also the author of the best-selling The Good Cemetery Guide, talking to us about her latest offering.